Funny story, when I was a kid, when I was like really young, I used to call them Jemima's witnesses because I thought that that's what they said. I thought my mom was like they're like Jehovah's Witnesses, and in my brain I didn't like hear her right, so I would call them Jemima's Witnesses for the longest time to like high school. I'm talking about nobody corrected me.
Yeah.
No one corrected me. No one was like, it's Jehovah's. And so I would just be like, the Jemima's Witnesses. And people would laugh. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, what, you know, I don't know what's so funny, right? And then later on, I don't know what it was, but somebody was talking about it. And they're like, oh, this is, you know, oh, no. I was watching somebody say the Almighty Jehovah. And they said that. And I was like, Jehovah? Who's Jehovah? and then I looked it up and I was like, oh, I've been saying this wrong for years.
I feel like there's so many moments in that, like, just being bilingual where you, like, at least for me, I've had a lot of moments where I see a word, like, written out, and I'm like, oh, like, I was saying that wrong this whole time. Or, like, one thing that we talked about is, like, how we would say, like, bottle water instead of water bottle. Like, we flipped it, our brain flipped it. And
but it still makes sense. Bottled water?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
It does, but it feels weird. Like, I don't know, it feels weird coming out. Like, I don't know.
I think it's because like if somebody comes up to you, if somebody tells you across the counter, would you like a bottled water? Then it makes sense.
I guess I've never seen the bottle of water. I just put bottle. Yeah. Bottle water.
Maybe bottled is maybe the ED.
Bottled, yeah, the ED, yeah. Because bottled, I've had people tell me like, would you like some bottled water? Yeah. But if I'm using it as like, give me my water, if I say give me my bottled water, then that's a little weird.
Yeah. See, I think it sounds like, I guess how you're using it depends, but yeah, like I have such a big problem with mixing up words in general.
That's okay.
Dyslexia, I don't know. I need to go check that out.
I think it's just like, I used to have a really big stutter when I was a kid, like 5 years old all the way to like maybe 7, like really, really bad. Like I had to see like a speech therapist and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the speech therapist was like, there's nothing wrong. He's just learning 2 languages right now.
Yeah.
And so he's getting stuck between saying things and what he knows, and he's probably thinking in Spanish. Yeah. And then he's trying to say the words in English, so se traba. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he doesn't know where to go.
That's how we were. We went, we were like thrown into preschool only knowing Spanish, no English, and there was no Spanish teacher to help us. So like we were like forced to learn like English. And it's true at a certain age you mix it. Like you're like, wait, like what's the difference?
Do you guys think in English now or think in Spanish?
I think primarily English, just because I know it more. But I've been like writing more and thinking in Spanish too, just so it doesn't like go away and it doesn't you know, even get more mixed up. So but primarily English. Yeah.
How about you?
Well, my day consists of Spanish since I'm a bilingual teacher.
So you killing it.
All day I'm Spanish,
you're
and
Spanish,
I'm working with kids like in your situation too, like where I'm like, hey, I know we're really comfortable with Spanish because this is what's spoken in like their homes, but we need to start learning English. And it's just it's a really tricky area because you have like different sounds, like your alphabet, it's the same alphabet but different, like not the same alphabet, I know.
Well, even like the way you move your tongue and stuff, right? Like if you're gonna roll your R's, or if you're gonna say the A, if you're gonna, you know what I mean? It's just like a different, like soft syllable or soft vowels, like you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm sure you know what I mean. That's crazy. I dream in English and I think in English, but I can speak relatively fine in Spanish. Yeah. I had a meeting with the girl that's in charge of Guess It in Austin. Mm-hmm. Do you guys follow that account?
I don't think so.
Guess It in Austin. She blew up recently. She has like 200,000 followers on Instagram and stuff. She's like blowing up. And I had a conversation with her. She's from Monterrey also, and she's talking to me completely in Spanish. And I'm like trying my best to follow along. And I think I did a pretty good job. She was like, "Oh, that was really good," but you could still see sometimes where I'm like, I don't know that word yet. Like it's just a complicated word in English, right? I'm using like post SAT words in English because I could communicate very well in English, but I don't know that word in Spanish. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, fuck, I don't know how to. I can communicate. If this was a board meeting right now, I'd be killing it in English. You know. Yeah. So I think in English, I dream in English, but I don't. I can still speak in Spanish. And every time I'm in my parents' house, we don't speak English. In my parents' house, we just speak Spanish. I might like.
Parents know English?
Yeah.
Oh, they
yeah.
know.
My parents were
Okay.
fluent in English also.
Oh,
they
that's
they
cool.
after they came here. So when was it? This was I'm 32, so 25 years ago. 25, 26 years ago, they didn't know a lick of English. And since then, my dad's fluent in English. My mother's fluent in English. They can speak very well. They speak to white people every day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they're very comfortable. They, you know,
That's awesome.
one of our biggest shining moments that we talked about with our mom is that she was able to cuss off a white person for the first time. It was like 10 years ago, but she like did it with
her chest.
with confidence.
Like,
yeah, she said it with her chest, and we were like, "That was good. Like you did it right."
She's like,
yeah. She was like, "I'm with it." And then afterwards, she cussed them on in Spanish, like more passionately.
Yeah.
Because Spanish is a little bit more passionate, but she was able to do it right in English, and we were like,
You gave her a round of applause.
"Can't stop us now."
Yeah. You applaud her.
we out here, you know. So they're both fluent in English. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I think going back to also what you said about your abuelita like feeling comfortable and everything around her, it made me think of Becky G. We love Becky G.
She's hot.
Yes, she's very hot.
She's hot as
very
fuck.
Hot.
Sorry, I'm the guy in the room, so I gotta break the tent. Like she's hot as fuck, Becky.
Yes,
Keep killing it.
She's hot, and she's going to like continue to grow. I know she is. I don't.
I mean, she's been in the industry since she was like 15, right? Like 15, 16, like
since singing in the shower.
She sang that too. We went to her concert. Yeah.
And she's been on fire. Well, it's steady rising, but like right now she's kind of iconic.
Her last two albums were more like regional, like Mexican. And
fire. We love that.
she has one song in there that's called like dedicated to Abuelito. And I think that's how we know who we can relate to when it comes to artists, because if you like hear the song, I recommend hearing it alone because it's sad.
Damn, so don't play it right now. Don't play it right now, camera guy. Don't play
She
it.
was singing at her concert and she like needed a moment and I needed a moment too.
Of course.
But it just talks about how like, you know, she was rich back then, like when she would go back to Mexico and like have her abuelitos, and it's just like seeing that makes me like, it brings warmth to my heart because it's like that's how I felt too.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. I haven't listened to a lot of Becky G, but I like her from a distance because I haven't necessarily like found her music in that kind of way, but I know of her and I've known of her. She's from LA, right?
Yeah, she
is. Yeah. So I know a little bit about that. I think I might have actually been around her at some point because whenever I was in LA, when in my late teens, we were always around like industry people. It's part of the reason that I hate LA. LA is so fake sometimes, but we were around a whole bunch of industry people when I was sponsored, and we would constantly be around like these up and coming artists. So there's a chance that we might have been around the same areas or whatever. But I've known about her name for like such a long time. I in my mind, I think she's like uber famous because she's I've just known about her for such a long time.
Yeah, she's been just like very
just
I guess
well
known still all these years, you know,
Mm-hmm.
which like sometimes artists end up like falling out. You don't hear from them, they stop making music.
But she's consistent.
But I feel like she's definitely like, especially this new album she dropped, like you can really feel like all the passion she put behind it and how proud she is to be like Chicana and stuff. So I think it's so cool to have someone that like you relate to, like, you know, in the music industry, and like you're just like, you know what, like I may not personally write songs, but if I were to write a song,
that'd be it.
This would be it, you know.
Do you guys I confused her a little bit with Caliucci for a second because when Telepatia came out and like that song was blowing up, I didn't know who Caliucci was, so I was like, this has to be Becky G. Like, if this is Becky G, she's fucking killing it right now because that song is fire. But it wasn't. And I was like, oh, okay, well, at least there's another artist out there that's like kind of like blending this world of like, in the song she's got some English stuff and then some Spanish stuff and then just kind of going. I was like, that's kind of dope. Do you guys relate to the Chicana experience? Do you guys call yourself Chicanas? That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I've never used it growing up. I always just use like first generation, like, you know.
What's the technical term? Look up what Chicana means. Let's see. Let's figure out in real time.
I personally have never used it to describe myself.
CHICANA. and then just
what do you mean? It's because there's a lot of controversy, like, I guess.
An American woman or girl of Mexican origin or descent. See, I don't feel like that's right. Yeah. Because, like, it has to say something about the fact that you're not in Mexico. An American, I don't know.
I just know it gets, like, a little controversial when it comes to, like, terms like Hispanic, Chicano,
Latino.
Like, I'm just like, I'm Mexican American.
You know? I call myself I wouldn't call myself Chicano, but it's because all the Chicanos that I know have a very different culture.
Yeah.
And all the like Tejanos that I know that call themselves Tejanos have a very different culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like there's some Chicanos that I know that are here in Texas, but most of the Chicanos that I know that are like Chicano and proud are all in California.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and this also goes into like I think they just embrace that term a lot more, and like this goes to the like Cholo, like Cholo and Chicano that kind of has this like very close-knit relationship. I don't know the nuances, so I don't know if they're the same, but in my mind they correlate a lot.
Yeah.
But like, you know, a lot of Cholos are Chicanos, you know, first, second, third generation, you know, grandchildren of or great grandchildren of first generation, you know, Mexican Americans, and they have their own thing. They do their own thing. They kind of, follow their own rules. They think about American life in their own way. So that's why I wouldn't call myself Chicano. I still have like very deep memories of Mexico, and very like, you know. Yeah. So my identity crisis is a little bit different, but I've been around a lot of Chicanos, and their culture is really great. I really like it because we share a lot in common. The food is very similar. You know, sometimes the way we talk is very similar, but then also they also have like very different. Like if you think about the Cholos and Chicanos that I know in LA, for example, there's a lot of like different clothing styles. There's that, you know, that's where you get a lot of the like the flannel. Only the button up at the top with the Converse and the Dickies and the, you know what I mean? Which is dope, you know? You get very specific like tattoo styles and the way that they, you know, very specific hairstyles. Yeah. I'm thinking about that movie. What's it called? The Accountant. Have you guys seen that movie? With Shia LaBeouf was like the token white guy in that movie.
I don't think I have
watched it. He looks so good in that.
Yeah.
Like,
Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah,
he kills it, right?
Yeah.
He looked like, I remember, because he like Shia LaBeouf is the whitest white boy ever, right?
Yeah.
But then in this, he really goes into this character, and when you watch the movie, I remember I was with my sister, and we watched the movie, and my sister was like, "Is that Shia LaBeouf?
Yes.
Why don't he look like that all the time? Like, what's going on? Like, he's over here looking all white and like hipster there. And shit, but like, what's up? Like, why don't you look like that?" He really pulls off that. And it's funny because in Mexican neighborhoods, there almost always is like that one white boy that is there because of, you know, their family or whatever. They're like in the same circumstances, and they end up taking a lot of the customs. So they end up like that white boy at the carne asada. They end up like liking fajita. They end up talking like that. Yeah. I had a whole bunch of friends that I grew up with that were white and were in our neighborhood, and they essentially look like that because they would just be around us all the time. Yeah. So, you know, anyway, Chicano and Mexican American for me like feel very different. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's why I was asking if you guys like relate to the Chicana word, or if you guys just use Mexican American.
Yeah, like I mean, I've never called like myself like a Chicana, but for the same reasons why like most like people who call themselves Chicanos are like in California. That's one thing like that I learned like in my studies in college and all that. And like I also like, yeah, I'll say like we'll say Latina owned, you know, but we'll embrace like to be more specific, we'll just say like Mexican American, or just like Mexican too, like, you know, just like
I do that too.
Like instead of like having to really, like, I guess, go into detail. Just keep it simple. Mexican.
If you like that video, please make sure you like and subscribe. We're on every social media platform. It really helps out in the algorithm if you do that. And it also helps us make better content for you in the future. We are 100% self-funded, and we have so many ideas that we want to get out to you guys, but we won't be able to do it without you. So please hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. We really, really, really appreciate it. Until next time, see you around.